Welcome everybody to a new My Hero Academia video. And guys, today I bring you a little bit of a rerun. I wanted to go over the talent tree guide again, and there are several reasons why I want to do this. Okay, so the first one is that, a lot of time has passed since the very first video that I made on the talent tree guide, right? The original one. And we have had 3 extra characters come out since then, right? 4 if you count Aizawa, right? Because when I released that video, the only way to get Aizawa was through the missions, right? And now Aizawa has been on a banner, so he's a lot more people actually have him now, right? So yeah, we have more characters now, so the video is going to be more complete, it's going to be more updated, even though the guide has been updating as new characters come out, for sure. Another reason is that when I do my ultimate guides, every single time somebody ends up asking why aren't the talents included in the ultimate character guides, right? Especially in the Shigi one, I got asked that a lot, and the reason why is because I feel like adding talents to the ultimate character guides wouldn't just make the video way too long, and also it's kind of unnecessary considering that this already exists, right? And you can just come here and consult on this, that again I do keep updated all the time. Every time that a new character comes out, I update the guide immediately. You guys that like to follow me already know this, but I do understand that the video itself is a little bit old at this point, so it might be a little bit difficult to actually find the talent tree guide, right? So with this video, I hope that this will last for the next 3-4 characters, right? And then we'll update again. But yeah, another reason why is because when I first made this guide, my account was not as complete as it is now, right? I was missing a lot of characters. I didn't know what a lot of them actually did, and now I do, right? Now the only 2 characters that I'm missing are actually All Might and Momo. So I have everybody else, and I have pretty much tested everybody else except maybe Tsu and Ojiro. Everybody else I have tested. So I have a better knowledge, and the final reason why is because I've been reading it over again, and I realized that I made several mistakes. I confused a few of the branches and put the descriptions of other branches. So there have been a few mistakes made, and so I just wanted to correct them in this guide so that we can clarify everything. Okay, all right, so we're going to stop at the start at the bottom, and we're gonna work our way up. Okay, so let's start with Bakugo. So Bakugo relies a lot on his Q. Well, not a lot actually. Bakugo is like his entire thing is his Q, right? So you definitely need to focus on his Q, and nothing does that better than his top right branch, right? You get 10% extra damage every time that you Q, and you Q 5 times with Bakugo, so that is a lot of extra damage. So definitely 100% top right feel like it's mandatory. Also, you get more crit after you W. Crit for Bakugo is amazing because your Qs, if they crit, they will deal ridiculous amounts of damage. So for sure you want to do that. Then we have his left branch, and his left branch is going to give him increased crit after he quirks, right? And also he's going to have a decreased cooldown on his E and W. And the cooldown is going to actually be quite a substantial amount, right? Because the cooldown applies whenever he Qs. So basically what this is going to do is that you will get like a ton of E's and W's, right? Because you will be constantly lowering their cooldown, right? And then queuing when you use them, right? As soon as they become available, you use them, and then you queue and reduce their cooldown so you can use them again, so you can queue again, right? It just creates like a vicious circle. So yeah, cycle. It's pretty much what Bakugo already does, but this kind of like speeds it up a little bit. So yeah, definitely this is the way to go with Bakugo. Okay, then we have Tokoyami. Tokoyami, you want to go top right. Tokoyami really is a character that I fell out of love with. I feel like he doesn't really have a punch. I don't like his animations. They don't really like pack a punch for me. Also his auto attacks, I find them very frustrating because I feel like he just takes way too long to jump from one auto attack cycle to the next. He just stands there for too long. In like, I don't know, I'm not sure if this is actually a thing with some of these characters, or if it's just me that I just don't like these characters, and so I think this certain way. But you know, I feel like the same way, for example, about Uraraka, that she like lies on the floor way too long if she gets hit right in a fight or something like that. I don't know if this is an actual thing, that you know, the different characters have different things, or if it's just me, but I do feel like Tokoyami just stands there for ages before he starts a new auto attack cycle. I don't like his animations. I feel like they don't pack a lot of a punch, honestly, and you know, I also feel like they're way too flashy. They're all over the screen and it's hard to see what's happening. So yeah, I really liked him at first, but I've fallen out of love with him, to be completely honest, guys. So okay, so we have top right first. Top right is going to give you a lot of damage reduction, okay, because it's going to give you damage reduction after you use your E in liberated state, and also it's going to give you damage reduction every 10 points in the shadow meter. Right, so basically, as you build up your passive to transform into the liberated state, you will increase your damage decrease, and also you'll increase your rampage chance. If you don't know what rampage is, it's basically liberated state, but Tokoyami has kind of like a red aura, right, and he deals a ton more damage, and I think he also has more auto attack speed. I think so. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, guys, of course. So then we have bottom right. So bottom right is basically going to give you extra shadow zones, or the possibility at least of extra shadow zones, right? That's going to come from from using his W or his E, right? They have a chance. Doesn't really say how, like, what is the chance. It just says can create, right? So sounds like a chance, but it doesn't really explain what is the actual chance of creating an extra shadow zone. And then we have that whenever a skill is used 3 times, the shadow meter gains 10 points. So again, you get more you know, more of your shadow meter built up so that you can transform faster, right? So definitely this is the way to go with Tokoyami. Then we have a little note right there that says you can do bottom right first if you don't have the chipset yet, right? I'll tell you right now what the chipset actually does. So basically the chipset, what it does is increases the maximum capacity of the shadow meter and raises the crit rate by 20% while in rampage, right? So yeah, so you definitely want to get rampage as much as possible, right? And so that is going to be top right, but if you don't have the chip, so you don't have the 20% crit rate, then it doesn't really matter that much, and you should probably go bottom right. First, I mean bottom right and then top right instead of top right and bottom right. Hopefully that's clear. All right, guys, then we have Momo. So Momo, I don't have her. He's one of the 2 characters that I don't actually have, so I have no idea what I'm talking about here. So I'm just gonna tell you that I wrote top right, and that that increases friends damage in super cop. I'm not sure if friends actually means her turrets too, so if somebody knows in the comments, please let us know. And also you can have your Q almost instantly. As far as I understand, I think that's her lance. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. And bottom right apparently just gives you more damage, right? So Momo, I know I wrote something else in the original video and people have been correcting me on this, or have corrected me on this. So yeah, then Momo actually has the biggest note on the side, right? Because a lot of people actually argue for a different build. And so, you know, Dan, my partner in making guides, disagrees with that, and here he wrote down the reason why. I'm not gonna go through it so that this video isn't like end up being way too long, but you can give it a read. You can pause the video or go to the guide and like give it a read, and there's the reasoning why it's top right and bottom right and not something else. Okay, so right, then let's move on to Todoroki. Okay, so Todoroki is actually a character I really wanted to have, and then once I got him, I was a little underwhelmed. But I don't know, I feel like I probably don't use him right. but you know, at this point it's too late. I just refunded his talents and gave them to Shigi, and Shigi has been so much fun. So let's go through Todoroki. So Todoroki wants to go top right, right? And the reason why is you will get an increased damage to frozen enemies, right? So this comes basically from the first keystone on his top right branch, and it says enemies that are frozen are dealt 20% more damage, right? And then it also gives you an increased attack when the passive is active. So it says when freezing or burning, Todoroki's attack increases by 30%. So that's very good, right? It gives like, in my opinion, a more useful use a more useful use to your passive, right? So I really like this branch. Then we have bottom right, right? Bottom right is basically going to give you damage increase after you use your fire E. It says hold and release E flame punch to increase attack by 30% for 5 seconds. So that is a lot of increase, then we have that his double passive from your ult lasts longer, right? That's very straightforward. It is what it is, pretty much. Then we have a little note that says it is better to go at least halfway left before putting the rest of your points in right side if you have the chipset, right? You know, if you want to go big brain, right? Like a lot of these notes actually tell you to go halfway in one branch or not. I personally don't really like doing that. Personally, I don't like it very much. But you know, if you really want to optimize your characters, you can definitely do that. But let me read what the chipset says. And the chipset says basically W Ice Ray increases by 35% and requires no charge up. So very nice. It's much easier to land all three in like that way. If you don't know, guys, this is his Ice W, right? And basically if you land all three hits, you freeze your enemy, right? So halfway left, it will give you, let me tell you, halfway left will give you, when using W Ice Ray, Todoroki has a 15% chance to gain another Ice Ray. So, you know, it's just to ensure that you actually land all three, right? So if you miss one, you get a 15% chance to get an extra one so that you don't miss that one, maybe, if you know what I mean, right? So, so yeah. Now, let's move to All Might. So All Might is a kind of like a wild bullet, honestly. I have given up on trying to actually write a proper All Might talent, you know, like write up, I guess. Like I don't know, his section here has been changed so many times already. Because a lot of people just tell you a bunch of different things. I've been told a bunch of different options for All Might, halfway here, halfway there, top right, top bottom right, left, right, like a billion different things. Okay, so many different things I've been told about All Might. So this is the final you know, time. This was the last time that I actually changed him, and I said, okay, this is the last time, and I'm not changing it anymore. Okay, because it was ridiculous, right? I was changing All Might every other day because everybody has a different build for All Might. So if you want to follow this, you can follow it. If not, you can always go to the Discord and ask somebody, and you will probably get a different build from them that you might like better. Okay, so the way that I wrote down All Might is top right first, which will give you immunity while Oklahoma smashing, and also it will give you more damage the least health, you know, the least health that you have. So straightforward, right? Immunity while Oklahoma smashing is very good. Oklahoma smashing, I think, I want to say, is one of his auto attacks, but I might be wrong. Either way, more immunity on All Might can never like be wrong, right? You can't go wrong with more immunity on All Might. He's just such a ridiculous character. Then we have his bottom right. His bottom right apparently gives him a huge shield and also more damage, and he can chase with, again, I think it's one of his auto attacks that chases, and I think it chases actually with a tornado. Yeah, it creates a tornado after you use that, and you know, it follows the enemy around. Basically, it's another tornado. you can never go wrong, making All Might even more annoying than he is. Then we have that you can go top right and then do half on the other two trees. Like I said, guys, a lot of these notes will actually tell you that you can do half and half. I personally don't like that, especially because you can't actually complete the keystones if you go both halves. One of the two halves is going to be 1 out of 2. One of the two halfway keystones is going to be 1 out of 2 points, and that triggers me. I don't like that. But you can do it again if you want to optimize your characters, right? So, alright guys, now moving on to Aizawa. Aizawa is another one that, you know, a lot of people have super complicated, halfway here, halfway there, then you can refund and do this and do that. I don't even know. This is what I'm going with. So yeah, Aizawa is just like All Might. A lot of people have a lot of different builds. So this is the build that I'm recommending, guys. Again, if you feel like you want to do something else, you can always hop on the Discord and you will probably get a different build. But this is what I'm going to recommend, okay? So with Aizawa, we have his top left branch first. Top left is going to give you 60% extra damage against bleeding targets with hyper armor, right? So basically bosses, right? That's pretty much what that means, because bosses, you're always going to be bleeding bosses and they will always have hyper armor, or most of the time will have hyper armor, so definitely want that. It will also give you 10% extra crit rate and crit damage. That is a lot, and you can stack up to 30% of that extra crit and crit damage while sneaking around with your Q1. So very, very, very good for bursting, right? Then we have top right. Top right will give you more counter damage, and it will also apply bleed when you counter, and also it will increase the amount of damage that your quirk does, which is just ridiculous. His quirk is so freaking insane. I think actually top right is the one that gives you a lot of extra damage whenever when you use your quirk on someone with like 30% of their health left or less, something like that. So yeah, crazy, absolutely crazy. Then the note says that you can do bottom right for the second branch if you want to focus on using him in PvP mode. I've had a lot of people complain about this note, right? But you know, it's just a recommendation. This is not mandatory. This is an alternative if you want to focus on basically super co-op, right? That's what PvP modes means, just super co-op or Warzone. So yeah, that's it for Aizawa. So then we have Uraraka, right? Uraraka, you would definitely 100% want to go top right, because she will fly longer. You know, that's pretty much self-explanatory. When you're flying, you're pretty much immune to damage most of the time, except maybe in some instances of PvP, right? Again, Warzone or Super Co-op, that you know, some characters can bring you down, but most of the time you'll just be immune. So you definitely want to fly longer. Also, like, you definitely want to be in the air with Uraraka, because she doesn't have hyper armor almost at all. All of her abilities are interruptible because she doesn't have hyper armor, and it's incredibly annoying. So I just prefer to like be chilling in the air, right, and dealing damage from the air. So then we have top left. Top left will give you 100% bigger E. It will basically double the area of effect of her E, and that is insanely powerful, especially in Super Co-op. You definitely want that talent if you are using her in Super Co-op, because it will shred teams. You definitely 100% want to go top left, right? I've had some people argue about top right, you know, like they don't see the point of flying longer, but again, like, I'm not gonna keep repeating myself, but you know, you can find another build if you want. Then we have Mineta. Mineta is I never know if I should say Mineta or Mineta. I don't know, whatever, however you want to call him. Mine, basically he goes top left because it gives him more root time, right? Also it refreshes his cooldown when he uses his W, I think, something like that. Correct me guys if I'm wrong. And then you want to go bottom right because it'll increase his Q damage. You know that his Q is insane. It does a lot of damage. His Q is crazy burst. And also spin to win, I think means that he gets probably more damage from picking up his balls on the floor. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I really didn't know what a lot of these characters actually did, so I just wrote down stupid shit. I'm sorry about that, guys. So again, another note that top right as second can be okay, because using using E will refresh W with the first, and you can spam skills a lot faster. Yeah, I'm not sure if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. Then let's move to Iida. Iida is a character that I had no clue when I first made this guide what Iida actually did, but now my Iida is actually very built up. I'm very happy with my Iida. He has more than 40k BP and he is very good, especially now today that mock contest came out, so you can definitely test him out and see how amazing he is, especially for mock contest. So for Iida, you 100% mandatory want to go top right first, because top right will give you just flat out stats, right? Top right will let you stack attack, right? Every hit made using boost combo will increase attack by 0.5% for 3 seconds for a maximum of 100 stacks. I think I calculated that to be like 18% maybe, but now I feel like it's wrong. Yeah, that's definitely completely wrong. 5%, I think it is. Yeah, 5%. I think I'm thinking of another talent right now. And then the last keystone on the top right is going to give you 20% attack speed and 15% crit damage. So that's just straight up stats. Just straight up stats. So definitely mandatory to go top right first with Iida. Then you can go bottom right, because, and of course I wrote down broom because I had no freaking clue what Iida actually did, but now I do. Now I know what I'm talking about. So bottom right, Iida builds engine power a lot faster. It says engine power increases automatically every 5 seconds by 40 points. That is a lot. And also it gives him 40% attack true damage when using his boost combo. So that is a lot of damage. So definitely 100% want to do this with Iida. Then it says if you're doing a budget build on Iida, then you should go top right all the way and then get the third node on the bottom right. Right, budget guide meaning that if you don't want to invest fully into his 2 branches, right? Pretty much. So then we have Su and Ojiro. Both of them, I still have no idea what they do. So if you guys have better recommendations for these two, you're more than welcome to correct me, and I will probably change the guide if you have any suggestions. So yeah, Su numbs enemies with her top left branch, right? And numb, I'm pretty sure that numb, what it means is actually, paralyzes. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And so then, it decreases their movement speed by 50% too. I should add that there. And also destroys enemies, of course. Very understandable. Good job, Jay. While airborne hitting a numbed villain with Q, Rocket Hop deals an additional 400% attack of true damage, right? So basically, this is when she, uses her enhanced Q. So when she dodges and then starts using her Q, where she like flips in the air and then hits and then flips in the air and like indefinitely, right, until she's interrupted. So yeah, basically if the enemy is numb, right, she will deal insane amounts of extra damage, right? So this is probably better for PvE bosses. Not like she's very good at all in PvP, at least not in arena. She's fine in super co-op. Well, actually, she's fine. She's good in co-op, honestly, if you build her up. So because in super co-op, enemies are definitely going to walk into your pools and get numb, and then she's going to deal a ton of damage. Even though I don't think I've ever actually seen her use her enhanced Q in super co-op, but I might be wrong. I don't know, and I don't actually use her. But anyways, then we have her bottom right. Come into my poison zone and. I'm so funny, guys. I'm so funny. I know. You don't have to say it. I know it. I know. I'm so funny. When Azui's HP drops lower than 30%, Azui recovers 0.5% of max HP per second. So that's not really lifesteal, that is just her recovering HP if she's low. And then we have that when hitting an enemy zone with a riveting combo, Q or the other Q or E, Azui's attack increases by 1% for 10 seconds, and this effect can be stacked to a maximum of 40 times. Basically, if an enemy is in one of her pools, she will deal a ridiculous amount of extra damage. So basically, Azui's talents kind of revolve around her pools, right? I'm sorry if this is not the clearest guide that you've ever seen, guys. I don't really use to, and it's gonna get worse with Ojiro, so let's just go straight to Ojiro. I'm sorry, I think I'm just gonna skip him because there's no point. I really have no idea. Bottom right, top right, and nobody has corrected me as far as I know, so this seems to be the way to go. And there's a little note that says if you only care about pure damage output, go halfway on all 3 trees before finishing bottom right. Ridiculous. I don't even know. I have no idea. I don't know, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry if you really want to use Ojiro. I don't know what he does. I don't know. I really don't know. So, Deku. Deku is another kind of like wild character. Because let's read his note first, and it basically says, keep in mind that if you do go bottom right, Deku's AI will get messed up in Super Co-op. So if you want to focus your Deku in PvP, you'd be better off going top right as your second branch, right? And the reason why is because, let me read you what his actual last keystone on his bottom right actually does. It says W has 2 charges, basically, right? So basically it will mess with Deku's AI. I'm not exactly sure how. I think it's because he starts with these 2 W's, I believe. Not sure exactly, honestly, or maybe it has something to do with the cooldown of his Q. I'm not sure, but Deku usually starts Super Co-op with his Q, and I think that's what it messes with. I'm pretty sure. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, please. So yeah, either way, honestly, unless you're a new player, I wouldn't recommend that you take Deku to Super Co-op at all. He's not good at all in Super Co-op, so I wouldn't even recommend you taking Deku to Super Co-op anyway, so it doesn't really matter that much. So yeah, you should go top left first, and top left is going to give you defense increases by 5% for 3 seconds after using Q, right? And also it will give you attack is increased by 15% for 3 seconds after using Q. So you will basically get attack and defense after using Q. Yeah, sure. And then bottom right, we already read it, and so if you do want to take Deku to Super Co-op, right, then you should go top right, and top right, what it does is the damage of W increases by 7.5%, and also when using W 3 seconds after E, the attack is instantly charged with the shockwave that deals 40% extra damage, right? Not sure if you have him like me. I have him triple S, or if you have him SS, right? You can do his entire tree, so I don't know if maybe you should just skip his last keystone if you want to take him to Super Co-op or Warzone. Maybe just do his entire tree except for the last keystone in his bottom right. I'm not sure. But moving on to Kirishima, one of my favorite characters, to be honest. I really enjoy playing Kirishima, especially in Arena. I love playing Kirishima in Arena. You guys know, if you've seen my PvP videos, like, my teams have changed over time, right? Like, obviously, as new characters have come out and they're very good in PvP, I've changed my team all the time, but one thing remains constant, and that's that I will always take Kirishima in my PvP team. Always. Kirishima is amazing in Arena. You cannot change my mind. I love Kirishima in Arena. I absolutely love him. He is great. He is amazing. I love him in Arena. But Arena, you know, doesn't care about your talent. So let's read his talents for everything else. So you want to go top right with Kirishima because it will make him hit like a truck. I can assure you he does. He does hit very hard, and what his top right first keystone actually says is, when hot-blooded, basically when his bar is full, Kirishima's damage bonus is increased by 20%, a lot. And then we have that you know, you have a lower Q cooldown, but it's not really that straightforward. It's basically when Kirishima auto counters successfully within 0.5 seconds of using Q, this skill's cooldown time is decreased by 25%. So basically, if you're very quick on your feet and if you have very good reflexes, you can you know, decrease the cooldown on your Q so that you can use it again soon, right? So yeah, that's very good. Again, I love this character to death in PvP. Oh, but let's go to his bottom right. So bottom right, basically, death by head. You guys can't tell me that I am not the funniest YouTuber in YouTube. You can't tell me that, okay? I won't accept it. Damage taken during W's charged up phase is reduced by 20%. That's pretty much irrelevant in my opinion, because I never ever use W. Like, I never charge W, I only ever use it after my Q, right? So basically, if when someone hits you, right, and you counter, you can use your W right away to like kind of like jump on them with a fully charged W. So I always just save my W for when that happens. Always. I never ever use my W on its own, so it's kind of irrelevant in that sense. But then the last keystone says, gathering momentum during E, the damage of E increases by 20%. So basically, the more you run with your E, right, the more damage you will deal with your headbutt, is what I interpret from this, but I might be wrong. And this effect can stack up to 5 times as the charge duration goes on. Yeah. Pretty much. The more you run, the more damage you will deal, is what I understand from that. I might be wrong, so correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. So let's go to Kaminari. Kaminari, you want to go bottom right. I don't like Kaminari at all, especially now that we have such great tech characters. I think Kaminari has been completely power crept at this point. But Kaminari, you want to go bottom right. Bottom right will give you that his Q, Lightning Bolt, deals an extra 5% damage for 5 seconds on a hit. So I don't know how that works. On a hit, Q deals an extra 5% damage for 5 seconds. What? Not sure how that works. Please somebody explain to me in the comment. And then we have that after hitting a shocked enemy with Q, the enemy directly gains the numbed status, which is pretty much paralysis, right? You've probably seen it in Super Co-op if you have this. So yeah. Then we have his then we have I thought I got it wrong, but yeah. Then we have his top right. Top right basically says that the amount of enemies that can be hit by E, lightning chain, increases by 1. So that's nice. And then on the last keystone, it says using Q, you know, the enhanced Q, increases attack by 20% for 5 seconds. So that's pretty nice. Very straightforward. Now we can move on to the new characters actually. And so we start with Endeavor. So Endeavor was very controversial when he came out. There were many different builds for Endeavor. So let's see. So this is the build that I ended up going for. If you would like to do something else, you're free to do so. I'm just recommending this. This is not mandatory. So Endeavor wants to go bottom right first, right? Because the AoE on the floor is great for PvE, and especially also super great for Super Co-op. The AoE on the floor is super good. It can crit, it deals a ton of damage against stationary bosses, especially, or bosses that don't move around a lot, is super good, right? Against like the Mad Monster or sometimes Hanzo if he's not too crazy. So yeah, definitely go bottom right. That AoE is super good. Then you can go top right, because you can keep the 12% crit buff permanently by playing his rotations correctly. And then we have a little note that says you can also do top left instead of top right if you want help in Super Co-op mode, right? So if you want Andy to be good in Super Co-op, or extra good in Super Co-op because it's already top tier in Super Co-op, then you can go top right, right? I'm sorry, top left instead of top right. So if you want, we can read really quick what top right actually does. And basically it says, after using Q exploding lens recovers health longer by 5 seconds. So you get more health recovery so that you're even more immortal in Super Co-op. And the last keystone says, when attacked while using the lance, Endeavor has a 30% chance of becoming invincible for 1.5 seconds. So even more indestructible, right, in Super Co-op. So ridiculous. Okay, then we have Stain. Stain is so good on everything. He's good on PvE, on PvP. A lot of people were like kind of shooting him down when he came out, but I don't know why. He's amazing. He's amazing for both PvE and PvP. Great in both. So try to change my mind. So with Stain, you want to go bottom right. Again, this was kind of it wasn't controversial, but there was a lot of confusion at first. But you want to go bottom right. Bottom right will basically give you that when continued call and dominate, our active attack is increased by 30%. Basically, continued call is when you charge your bar and you go into that that state where Stain just runs around automatically. And also dominate is when that same thing ends, right? And it does this animation with those Asian letters. So yeah. And then we have the last keystone in bottom right says that when Stain is executing a combo, attack is increased by 8% every 3 seconds for a maximum of 5 stacks. That is 40% attack. The effect ends when the combo is broken, right? So combo basically means that you are doing a bunch of attacks uninterrupted. Then we have top left, right? So for top left, the first keystone is going to give you Stain increases damage dealt by 60% when using Dominate. So Dominate again is the last sort of like section or the last state of Stain when he goes into his charged bar and he starts running around automatically, and then he goes into the Asian letters. That last stage when he's on the Asian letters, that's when what Dominate actually is. And 60% increased damage is a lot of damage. You will melt enemies with that. And so the last keystone on top left, it says that the damage of W Dagger Strike increases by 50%. Okay, so yep. Afterwards, dagger attacks are no longer limited by the time, but the time frame is shortened to 6 seconds. So basically, that in the original skill, right, you have a limit to how many times you can attack after you use your W, right? How many times you can like dash around. So this talent will basically remove that limit, and instead it will give you a 6-second limit. Right, you can dash around for 6 seconds as much as you want, but once the 6 seconds are done, you're done. Okay, so yeah. Then we have a pretty lengthy note, and let's read it. It says top left and top right are interchangeable. Top right will give you more damage with your W and smoother rotation. It will also buff the last part of your auto some more. It's up to you. Final note, unless you have Stain at SSS or higher, the left keystone talent is practically worthless. So go half left and then half right. So there's like 3 different builds there, right? Yeah, well, it is what it is, right? So there's a few different builds. You can go with whatever you want. The reason why I ended up adding this is because, again, I was getting so many people telling me so many different builds. You should do this, you should do that, that's wrong, this is right, this is wrong, this is right. Like, so I just added as many different builds as I could in there, so you can choose whichever one you like, whichever one fits you better, right? Also, do guys keep in mind that this guide, and honestly most of my guides, are intended for characters that are S. I don't have characters higher, like at least none of the limited characters are SS or higher, so I can really give you an opinion on an informed opinion when it comes to like whaling, right? Because I know a lot of my whale friends disagree with me with a lot of these things, and it's mostly just because the playstyle when your characters are triple S or triple S plus is completely different than how it is when you are a tiny little free-to-play lowly free-to-play like the rest of us. So yeah, Alright guys, and now we have Shigi. Shigi has been the most problematic one because when he came out, we got a bunch of screenshots, because obviously I tried to release the quick advice for talents as soon as the character comes out in Europe, right, so that everybody can use it. But it was very problematic because his screenshots were like incomplete. So like it kind of seemed like some of his keystones didn't do anything. It was very messy, very messy, and so I had to release the quick advice guide very like haphazardly, basically. So let me correct that by giving you guys here the complete thing. So basically, you want to go top right first, because top right will basically give you the first keystone will give you increased damage by 30% by when grabbing opponents with hyper armor. So basically, it makes him much better for PvE. Right, Shigi is already a god in PvP. We will make a tier list update soon, but just so you know, Shigi is an absolute god in PvP. My main team nowadays is Shigi, Kirishima, and Stain. So crazy. So yeah, so basically that talent will make him much better at PvE. And also it says that when the enemy accumulates 10 stacks of decay, the frequency of decay damage taken increases to once every 1 second, right? So that's very good, because basically it doubles the damage of decay once you put 10 stacks on your enemy, right? Which is very good, because decay is the main source of damage when it comes to Shigi, right? Do check out the Ultimate Shigi guide for more information. Then we have half left, half bottom right. Again, this was problematic because people don't like going half and half, but this is the optimal way to do it. So if you don't like it, there's a note right there, we'll get to that. But basically the left first keystone is going to grant you 30% attack at all times once you apply 15 stacks of DK, right? So it kind of complements the top right keystones, right? And also it will give you Nomu an attack speed increase of 10%, which is very good, because if you don't know, Nomu is actually very slow when it comes to attacking. He's very slow to respond, so that makes him a little bit better. So let me just read the note at the bottom, right? So it says, I've been asked, because I was, to add a little note here to clarify. You can't upgrade both half keystones fully, right? I think I mentioned this before in the same guide. You can't actually go half and half and actually complete both half keystones, right? One of them is going to be halfway there. It's going to be 1 out of 2 instead of 2 out of 2. So do keep that in mind, right? One of them will be 1 out of 2, yeah, just what I said. Obviously only if you have the character on S, right? If you have an SS character, you can complete the whole tree. So if that triggers your OCD, because it does trigger my OCD, you can either go left or bottom right, right? All the way is what I mean. You can either go all the way left or all the way bottom right. Both of them will give you different benefits. So if you go all the way left, it will give you more stacks of decay, which is always good. But if you go all the way bottom right, it will give you more Nomu, which will give you more decay anyway, because the main ways in which you can apply decay are all when Nomu comes out, right? I know there are other ways without Nomu, but the major amount or the biggest way that you can apply the most stacks of decay is when Nomu is out. Okay, so you can either go left or you can go bottom right. It's up to you, right? They both give you different benefits. Okay, so also the other note says that having Nomu out for 5 seconds longer will give you an extra Q combo, right, per rotation. Again, do check out the Shigi Ultimate Guide if you want more information. But the majority of your damage is still in decay, so keep that in mind, guys. So that's going to be it for this video. I'm sorry if it was a little confusing at times. It's very hard to speak in another language for well over an hour now. So I'm a little tired, but hopefully it was informative, it was understandable, this is not meant to be like, if you want to, you can, but this is not meant to be a video that you just sit down and watch in one go and now you have all the information, right? I'm going to break this down with timestamps so you can find what you need the most, right? So, because this is a guide, this is just a reference. You don't need to watch the entire thing so that you can know everything about the game. So I know it's going to be very long, it's probably going to come close to an hour, but you can just pick and choose whichever character you want to learn about. So I'm sorry to those of you that really don't like when I make these super long guides, but it is what it is. So yeah, if you guys have any suggestions, anything you think I should change, remove, or add, you can of course just leave me a comment in the below the video. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore, but you can absolutely leave a comment and I will definitely talk to you. We'll see if it's a good change or removal or addition to the guide, and yeah, we'll go through it together. So leave a like if you enjoyed the guide, guys. If you find it useful, leave a comment, subscribe if you'd like more guides like this, and I'll see you guys on the next one. I almost called you guides.